Good morning and welcome to County Executive Stuart Pittman's virtual press conference. Today, the County Executive will give updates on county operations. I will take questions after the updates. Reminder to just put your name and media affiliation in the chat, and I'll call on folks in that order. Please keep your camera and microphone off unless you're called upon for questions. And now I'll turn it over to the County Executive.
All right. Well, got a lot of brief things to cover. Haven't done this in a while. We want to get back into doing these on a regular basis for the press and the public who wants to tune in via live stream. I'm going to start with some staff changes that have been announced, but I want to introduce you to these folks briefly. And for this first group, just turn on your camera and say hello so that they can actually see you. And then we'll finish with a couple who I want to hear from briefly. So you may have noticed that Renisha Alfonso is taking the place of Jeff Ambrose. Jeff is the person you know because he's been our communications director for the last couple of years. And so Jeff is now our new chief of staff. So congratulations to Renisha. And then Jeff, can you wave new chief of staff here? So you know how to get in touch with both of them, I believe, at this point. So feel free to do so. Pete Barron, who's our director of government relations, is new position of chief strategy officer. Say hello, Pete.
Hello, everyone.
All right, there you go. I got the little green box around you. And I think many of you know Pete. He's always available. Vincent Molden, Director of Community Engagement and Constituent Services, moved up from Deputy Director. Is Vincent with us?
He's not on. He has a conflict.
Okay, he's not with us. And then James Kitchen, who was in that position, has moved into a new position of Director of Research and Special Initiatives. James? If you unmute yourself and say something, the green box will come around you.
All right. Hey.
There we are. All right. There's James's handsome face there for all to see. And then Jenny Propstel has moved into a new position of Deputy Chief of Staff, who's going to be helping me on a lot of issues as well as Jeff. So Jenny, say hello.
Morning, all.
Jenny is actually also running the Zoom in the background and does a lot of our social media work. And then our new Chief Administrative Officer, Christine Anderson. I am thrilled to have her here just down the hall working with us. Christine came over having run Central Services since 2015. She was actually the Acting Director of Inspections and Permits under the Laura Newman administration, has a long and outstanding career in county government as well as in state government. So welcome, Christine.
Hi, thank you. I'm excited to be here. We have a lot of great work to do in the second term of the Pittman administration. It's going to require all of us working together to just make government more efficient, deliver a master plan for the Crownsville property that we are now the proud caretakers and owners of, and launching Plan 2040 and a whole host of other things. So I'm really excited to be here and excited to jump into the role.
And I have said that I need a technocrat in this position because we have promised to make government more efficient and address permitting, personnel, procurement, a lot of the in the weeds issues that if you're going to fix the machine and make it work better, you hire a mechanic who knows the machine, and no better mechanic for Anne Arundel County government than Christine Anderson.
Thank you.
And then I also want to introduce Karen Henry, who's taking over the huge multi-pronged operation called Department of Public Works. And Karen also has a long history in Anne Arundel County dating back to 1989, starting as a community service specialist and then moving over to the Department of Aging and Disabilities and doing amazing work over there, concluding with the Community Care Partnership program that she ran, and then came over to Public Works and created the DPW Excel program, Excellence in Cost-Effective Leadership, ran within the Bureau of Utility Operations, the water operations, and then as assistant director since 2016, has really been overseeing all of the bureaus of DPW and a lot of the operations. And so has slipped into an acting role there now, and we're very proud to have her. So welcome, Karen.
Thank you. I'm honored to be serving in the role of acting director of public works and looking forward to helping implement the Crownsville State Hospital project and all the many hundreds of capital projects that we have, in addition to all of our other bureaus and work that we do to keep people on the road safely, getting to work, everything that we do, making sure you have clean drinking water, treating the water, helping the environment. So looking forward to continuing our great work.
Thank you. And as a county executive, it feels good to have this kind of experience and professionalism running that department, because that's what keeps the trains running for us. I want to introduce Erin Karpowitz. She is the director of Arundel Community Development Services that does all of our housing programs and community development work, but in particular has really done an outstanding job with her team, Lisa Sorrow and others, with the eviction prevention work during and post-pandemic. And I want to introduce her because we just sent a letter with our my peers in neighboring counties, Montgomery County, Baltimore County, Howard County, Baltimore City, calling on the governor to extend the ERAP program, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, the state program. And I want her to explain why we have done this and what it means. So welcome, Erin.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive. Thanks to initial investments from the Pittman administration and the County Council, and Arundel County was one of the first jurisdictions to kick off a pandemic-related eviction prevention program. And we've been able to help about 4,500 households since May of 2020. But nevertheless, rents continue to rise and inflation is still ongoing. So families are still struggling. Once the moratorium ended last year about this time, and then the courts started opening up after the Omicron virus, they started processing the evictions more on a steady pace. So we are really seeing evictions climb now past pre-pandemic levels, and our families are struggling here in Anne Arundel County as well as throughout the state. Just to give you a little example of that need, if we looked at court data and between the times of June and October of this year, and we projected that there would have been 653 evictions during that 5-month time period without our eviction prevention program. If you compare that to 2019, there were just 352 evictions during that 5-month time period. So we've been able to use our eviction prevention funds to stop a large portion of those evictions, but they still keep continuing. And the federal eviction prevention funding, which is known as ERAP funding, is winding down here in Anne Arundel County, as well as for our partners throughout the state. So we see that kind of ending at the beginning of this new calendar year. And so what we're trying to do is tighten up our eligibility criteria and really kind of save that remaining funding, but there's still a huge need for additional funding. So we're joining, like the county executive said, with our partners in other jurisdictions, as well as about 50 other nonprofit organizations throughout the state that are calling on the state to add additional funding to help us get through the end of this fiscal year, as well as look forward to the next fiscal year.
Thank you, Erin. And I cannot stress enough how important this is. Anybody who heard my inaugural speech on Monday last week heard me say that accepting the facts presented in our Poverty Amidst Plenty report for our county and addressing the problems presented there is top of the list for this administration. And the eviction prevention work that is being done over there at ACDS must continue. So thank you for that work.
Yeah, and sorry, if I could just add one thing I forgot to mention. We're in a little bit better shape than other jurisdictions because the county executive and the county council have added an additional ARPA funding to support this. So I do appreciate that. We're a little bit in better position. We might be able to kind of eke out a little bit more assistance over the next couple months.
All right, thank you. So next, I just want to briefly commend Dr. Bedell and the Anne Arundel County Public School System for the work that they've been doing addressing the bus driver crisis. The fact that after talking for over a year about the need to think outside the box, and when the contracts with the bus companies are not able to deliver, the 13 companies that they contract with, going outside of that and renting vans and hiring non-CDL drivers to get these kids to school. That new program is working, and the fact that they started the year with 70 routes not being serviced and are down to 23, to me is real progress, and I'm thrilled that they expect that progress to continue. Part of that is made possible by the fact that we address this issue early on as an economic issue, that we talked about all AACPS employees, but also contractors getting a livable wage, and those bus drivers needed that $5 an hour increase that our federal funds made possible, and that we put into our budget in 23, and must continue to be able to recruit and retain in a competitive environment. And then the great work of our Anne Arundel Workforce Development Corporation, helping folks get those CDL licenses and doing recruitment work as well, along with these new contracts with these van companies. We're getting there. Any routes not being serviced is too many, but being down to 23 is great progress. So congratulations, Dr. Bedell, and the whole team over there at AACPS. Briefly, it's going to be budget season where we're going to have to confront these issues again. And once again, we are going to do 7 budget town halls, 1 in each district of Anne Arundel County. We're going to do them in person. I look forward to sitting down with each of the 7 members of our county council at a table in front of our shared constituents and hearing their priorities for the budget for the next year. So those will start in January, and we'll have a schedule out very soon for all of those. Last year we had average of about 100 each, 700 registrations total in the county. So looking forward to getting that process underway with my county council partners. These press conferences will continue. We're going to start out with them on a monthly basis and add additional ones as needed. So please keep watch for the notices from Renisha and her team. And now I want to jump over to Dr. Nilesh Kalyanaraman, our health officer, to update us on COVID, RSV, flu, and any other issues as we head into the holidays and start really having to think about preventing any kind of a surge in infections and illnesses in our county.
Thank you, County Executive. I do want to give an update on where we are with these respiratory illnesses. I'll start with flu. We're seeing that our flu cases are very high in Maryland. Typically in prior years before COVID, we'd see flu peak later, January, February. That peak is already happening. And so we want to really encourage people to make sure they get their flu shot, get that flu shot now, preferably before the holidays. We've also heard a lot about RSV circulating. It's another one of the respiratory illnesses, but it particularly affects young children. And then lastly, COVID. COVID is still circulating. It's still at our COVID community level is still low right now, but we're still seeing people hospitalized and still seeing older people dying from it. So it's important to make sure that you get your updated COVID booster shot. Bottom line, if you haven't gotten a shot since September when the new COVID booster came out, please get your booster. You're not getting the most up-to-date protection. And the last thing to remember is that masks are really important. They are a tool that helps not just prevent the spread of COVID, but also prevent the spread of flu and other respiratory illnesses. All of you have that experience of knowing that you did not get as many illnesses in the past couple of years because of those masks. We're recommending that you wear a mask if you're in a crowded indoor setting, using public transportation, and particularly if you're around people who are immunocompromised or people who are over 65. Right now, with respiratory illnesses spreading wildly, it's important to make sure that you use all your tools. It's, of course, a recommendation, but we do want to acknowledge what's happening, not just in terms of illness, but also in terms of people going to the emergency room and getting hospitalized as well. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, County Executive.
All right, thank you, Dr. K. So I'm going to now turn it over to Karen Taylor at our Anne Arundel Department of Social Services. And the reason is that it's holiday season, and we have a new governor whose mantra is leave no one behind. And in this county, we want to leave no one behind during the holiday seasons and make sure that every family has presents and great meals. And the Department of Social Service has done the holiday sharing program now for 43 years. And last year served 3,000 families with gifts or food during the holidays. So it's possible for anybody and everybody to support this program. So Karen, tell us how.
Good morning, everyone. So like the county executive said, we are in our 43rd year of the county's holiday sharing program. Each year, this program provides food and gifts to families and seniors during the holiday season. This year, we plan to assist approximately 2,400 Anne Arundel County families and seniors with food and gifts during the holiday season. At this time, we have 258 donors who have provided Thanksgiving meals, and they will provide Christmas meals and gifts, or in some cases, all three of those for this holiday season. We can always use more donors, but at this time, because it's getting so late in the season, their preference would be for us to get gift cards from people who would like to donate. They can mail them into our PO box. They can drop them off at our 80 West Street location. We ask that they keep those gift cards at $25 or $50 amounts, because that way they can spread them out more. What they use these gift cards for is to provide gifts in the form of gift cards to our older children, kids who are like over 12, who sometimes don't get a donor until either very late or are left behind because there aren't enough donors that can cover these older kids. And understandably, people would like to buy for the younger children first. So that's what their preference usually is. All of our younger children always get covered without a problem and do very well. So that is what that request would be right now. Of course, if you want to be a donor, we will take you anytime. So if you have any questions or need more information, you can get all that information from the website. It's you may enter aacounty.org/holiday sharing program. And that will give you all the contact information and mailing addresses, and of course, our 80 West Street drop-off location. Thank you.
All right. So I've done mine. I hope you all out there will do yours as well and get all these kids what they deserve during the holidays. So I'm going to turn it back over to Renisha, who will take questions.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive. Just a reminder, put your name and media affiliation in the chat. All right, seeing none, I think that's a wrap. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.